So here we are, high over Kinlochleven. This is the first of the two-day 1988 Pre-65 event. Very similar route to last year. 180 riders taking part. Tony Sullivan on his big matchless. There we are, that's the view if you make the walk up Lochiel path. It's well worth it. Roger George, Belgian rider on an AJS. One of the smaller bikes, number 57, Tiger Cub, Graham Morris. '60, the incomparable Dave Thorpe, winner of this trial on many occasions. He would also go round today's route clean. Number 40, another big machine. '52, back with the Cub, Patrick Coughlin. Oldest competitor, Walter Dalton, 70 odd years of age. 67. Looked like a B40. Stephen Maxwell, that was actually a 250 BSA. Dave Reynolds from Redditch on another 250 BSA. Stig Carlson, a man who was to be quite unhappy, having been allocated time penalties at the end of day one. Section Am Bodak down the Mamor Road. Two continuous subs here. Tricky, but shouldn't cause the top men too many difficulties. David Coughlin. Down as a 230 Triumph. Mileage today is supposed to be around about 16. Mick Grant on his very special aerial. Grant was going pretty well, but missed out really by taking a 5 on pipeline on day 2. Richard Thorpe, the PJ1 importer. First time Scottish Pre-65 rider. In fact, only bought this machine a few months ago. And if you phone him up one of the evenings, you'll probably find him fettling it. But he says it's getting there, slowly but surely. A man whose machines are never less than immaculate, Peter Salt, riding this time one of his Greaves. Continental rider, Philippe Fagny. Victor Hume. In the programme riding a BSA, but that looks very much like a Tiger Cub. And another Cub, plenty of them in the event. Edward Dobson. Steve Maxwell. So this sub probably wouldn't expect to catch you for a 5, but it's certainly going to take dabs all through the entry. Chris Bradley, that's number 85. A. McDonald, Tiger Cub. Ross Thompson, riding a 1964 350. Peter Stewart is the Hamilton Yamaha man, so strong presence in Scotland throughout the whole week and a half it's almost getting out to now. Peter Gaunt, 1960 247 BSA. Gaunt with one of the most economical riding styles you're ever likely to see, and very effective it is too. Previous event winner Alan Wright. 1998 was not to be a happy year for Wrighty. Things just didn't go well for him at all. Good enough through that section. Stobcoya Erga this is. We are down the Mammoor Road. Riders do quite a long ride down and then loop back round for day one. Alan Ketley on a 57 Ariel, so 500cc version. Rider, we're not quite sure what his number is. 124 though is John Moffat. Comes from fairly close by Inverness. Les Matten on the very much smaller BSA Bantam. Colin Corrigan on a Greaves. And Roger Williams, who would eventually finish the trial in top place. And look at the amount of work he's having to do on that bike. Kevin Chapman, who always takes his triumph to somewhere right up on the leaderboard. High up at Stabkoya Erga. Martin Wilmore on a very tidy B40. Paul Walsh on a 1963 500 Triumph. Malcolm Cocking, also Triumph mounted. As you can see, weather conditions absolutely crack on. As Martin Adams goes through on his 1956 500 aerial. These sections proving quite difficult. Top men as always will get through, but once those loose rocks start to move underneath the back wheel, that's what can happen. Alan Owens, number 42, is well behind on time. Perhaps he's already struck trouble elsewhere. You would have expected him to have gone through this section a good hour earlier. Joel Carroy. Frenchman on an aerial. Followed by Tony Frost on the diminutive BSA. Move across. Richard Thorpe there on his Cotton. Not actually a Cotton, I think it's a Sprite, that. Tony Sullivan. And one of the few Velocet Trials bikes there are. Rode last year. Nice looking machine, that. Matthew Miller on a Royal Enfield. Then George Greenland. Who we managed to just about put the kiss of death on through that sub. Further on in the day, almost at the end of day one, see the very nice 410 AJS ridden by Ian Hartland. These subs are actually called Mamor. And there's Dave Thorpe once again. Day 2, weather conditions nowhere near as good, a little bit cooler, but the riders soon able to warm up. "30 sections in total to do today. Again, 16 miles. They've already done one section at Schoolhouse, we'll see that a little bit later on. 2 at Manbreck, they have 2 here at Mamore. Then they go out a little further before we'll catch up with them again. Exactly the same 2 hazards that were ridden yesterday. As you can see, very few spectators have made it today. They'll probably be heading elsewhere. Schoolhouse and Manbreck, there'll certainly be plenty of people watching there. Lochiel Path as well. And then this afternoon, Pipeline comes into play with 3 sections there, followed by 2 at Aluminium Works. So you can always expect plenty of spectator interest there. "114 was Jim Cunningham. "102, Claude Coulthard should I say, and riding round with him his son Charles Coulthard. Very interesting presence to see the 2 of them in Scotland this year. Both on Greaves machines, which have been specially borrowed for the event. And then Kevin Chapman for another good clean. And Roger Williams, who we mentioned would win this event, and then go on to complete the 6-day proffer starting on Monday. Way off the beaten track, and really somewhere you'd only probably get to if you were a hardened walker or you've got a machine. Neil Crosswaite that was going through, first time on a trials bike for a number of years, but still looking as if he could ride a bit. 169. That was Roy Enticap. John Palmer. Adrian Bibby. Clive Tompkinson. Peter Mitchell, regular competitor. Peter's also riding the SSDT. Well, there's no place to dunk your nice machine. Alex Carmichael and 173 as we move on. We're actually moving backwards. The last few competitors here through Schoolhouse. Takes quite a few hours to get the whole event completed, and what's happened today is that a reversal in part of the riding order. David Madden. Robert Petit. Tim Bell wearing the equestrian helmet. Thought they had those for 3-day events, not 2-day. 76, Robert Clark. more interesting helmets. Maurice Brayford and his 360 James. Oh, as we move over to the lunar landscape that forms Penstock Dam. Two subs out here. Again, well away and off the beaten track. Mick Grant. Too difficult, but that rockery looks a bit unforgiving if you did manage to come off your machine. Stand accordingly. (1957) 250. Pipeline with John Moffat on this lovely matchless of his. But it's not going to get up there this year, but sure John will be back in '99. This is the one section that everybody wants to clean, and it's damn difficult to do it. But it's actually 3 sections. First 2 are not too bad, but the third one gets steeper. Paul Salvadori in problems on the second. Gets into the third. But eventually has to give way for the 5. Malcolm Cocking on the Triumph. Malcolm struggling there. Rides the end pass easily enough. Mark Weston, 250 James. Lovely stuff. Unfortunate, but a cracking ride up till that point. Paul Edwards. Guy who goes very well up here. And proves the point for us. George Greenland. That's as far as George is going this year. A dab, 2 dabs for Roger Williams. He's only 2 of the day. And wherever Roger was, Kevin Chapman was not far behind. The two of them rode the event round together. Yeah. Where did that back wheel go? Well, something like that is the usual conversation. Jim Cunningham hangs on well. Peter Salt at Aluminium Works. Graham Watkin on a 1958 350 AJ. Just about to get into a spot of trouble, and an exciting exit for Graham. Carl Bancroft from the West Midlands, struggling aboard the big Royal Enfield. Two big rocks still moving down here. Len Hutty, the superb rider who'll be out in the SSDT also. And the man and machine that caused plenty of interest over the week, should I say the weekend. A C11G, where I haven't seen one of those about for a long time. And he rode it pretty well as well. Clive Dobson, we seem to find the Rigid Norton just a bit of a handful this year. Thorpe. Riders assembling now for the parade preceding the 1998 Scottish Six-Day Trial. The parade led through the High Street by one Jimmy Savile, good colourful spectacle, and plenty of action from the Huddleston brothers, riding at number 81 and 82, right next door to Steve Saunders. Back into the paddock Sunday afternoon. Riders fueling up. Fueling has to be done in the evening. Ready for the 7:30 start tomorrow morning, where number 1, Willie Gordon, will get things underway. Monday morning, just after 7:15. Dry and bright. Unfortunately not the way things would stay, but so far so good. Willie Dalling in the background with Ali Findlay. Two of the men from the Edinburgh District Motorcycle Club, and Peter Stewart with the Scottish flag. Peter Stewart from Hamilton Yamaha gets Willie Gordon underway. The start of the 1998 Scottish Six Days. There we see Willie. Trotters Burn. Frank Rothwell. 4 subs here at Trotters. David Clinkard, back after a few years' absence. Another man we haven't seen in the Scottish for a year or two, Richard Allen. Toby Harrison coming to grief. Andy Huddleston, who would ride superbly throughout the 6 days. His brother, Chris. Paul Nicholson, this is Martin Snutch. No different in Trotters every year, same sections. Dean Nuttall, but they're still very, very difficult to get through clean. The waterfall section at the top, see Chris Clark going up, going offline. Davey Morwood riding a twin shock Fantic. Up for a couple. Dan Thorpe. Very nice. Anthony Brockbank. Followed by Nigel Burkitt. Very steady ride from Burks. This time in slow motion, Steve Colley. These are the sections out at Blackwater. Again, quite a distance out for spectators, but very tricky hazards, especially early on in the day. Some people making light of them. Martin Craven. Plenty of speed and no problem. If in doubt, probably better off stopping at the bottom. John Lampkin. There's Richard Wainwright.
Nice.
Yeah, a ride that's appreciated by the people who have made the effort to get out this far. David Pye, riding as always Fantic. Not too many of the Fantics in the event this year though. Rob Crawford. Riding Hamilton Yamaha. Hamilton Yam, of course, sponsoring the event again. Sam Connor, first time in Scotland. Lagnahar Farm. Last year, very first group of sections, which was very hard on the riders. This time, last group on Monday, but time has been tight, so it's still a pretty formidable hazard for everybody to go through. Billy Volsey coming to grief. Steve Saunders there. Still capable of superb performances in Scotland. And Team Saunders probably going across to the other side of Lagnahar, where there's another 4 subs. Andy Huddleston, lovely clean. Chris quickly follows up. But needs the dab. Across the other side of Lagnahar, Steve Colley about to get quite upset. Not a section you'd expect Steve to lose marks on, but quickly got back into his stride. And here we see him through the next sub. One of the lads from the Western Australian Trials team. This is Grant Morris. 130 is Phil Alderson. Still a bit of a 6-day specialist. And John Reynolds. Back, first time for many years. Adam Norris, another man who always puts in a good ride in the 6-day. Graham Jarvis, very close last year when he lost to Steve Colley. Weather conditions deteriorated a little bit at this point, but nothing compared to what we were going to get later on in the week. Makes that look very easy. This is the next sub. The Montesa team still looking pretty happy as they see David Kobos come through. Picking up the action at Craig Lundy. Heavy rain falling, about to get far worse. Steve Saunders uncharacteristically slack on this section. Clive Charlton finds the hole that's readily available for front wheels. Steve Colley manages to miss them all. Sparkling clean. Well, if you can describe anything as sparkling in this weather, but Gavin Thornton, no, he's dropped in, so 5 there for Gavin. As you can see from this shot, horrible weather conditions. Phil Alderson fighting his way through for a 3. Water level through these series of subs rose considerably during the day, as Neil Dawson almost gets through for a classic ride. John Lampkin and Martin Craven. This is Craven. Very difficult section for the clubman. John Reynolds probably satisfied with his 3. See if John Lampkin can go any better. Always rely on John for a good ride in Scotland. Sam Connor. Very nice. Just the dab. James Lampkin. Struggling a bit down the bottom of the stream. Rides the top part very well indeed. Graham Jarvis, you can see here with the distinctive yellow plate. That would signify he was the trial leader. David Kobos. Very welcome in Scotland this year. Time riders have got here on the Tuesday. They've already done Lagan Locks and another 3 groups as well. There's a lunch stop after this, then it's on to Forest Gate. Further more crossings and sections before Witches Burn finishes the day off, but this was a day when time was really too tight for the riders. Only 26 or 27 got in on time, and the course had to be eased off, which it was for the rest of the week, but unfortunately it was not a good day for the lads on Tuesday. As you can see, the water really coming down here, much harder than it was when we saw Steve Saunders through. Graham very much in control of things, and that was the way he stayed throughout the entire 6 days. Kobos still weighing things up. Antonio Herodon decides that halfway up is just where he will park the bike. Kobos actually rode it out for him before making his attempt, which we're going to see now. So just the one dab on 3, and we move across to see Adam Norris through Forest Gate. Caught up the same batch of riders again. Jarvis coming into view down at the bottom of the sub. David Pye coming to grief. Not happy with that. Sam Connor. Well, this section would be hard enough in a British Championship round. Quite a few of the Clubman riders just took a 5 here rather than attempt it, save their energy for later. Good effort from James Lampkin. Graham just round the back of that tree. And just watch this for a superb controlled ride up through first sub Forest Gate. Miguel Cuesta, one of the very strong Spanish contingent here. Manuel Jain. Oscar Giraud. Nicely done. David Kobos. Was perhaps a trifle fortunate here to escape. Tony Kay from B&B Motorcycles, having one of his most successful times in Scotland, really professed to be enjoying himself. Paul Bennett, who finished the week strongly, but we've caught him on quite a tricky section here. And John Shirt also, who doesn't escape this one without a maximum penalty. And almost a seized engine. Duncan Mitchell, Martin Crossway down in the background. Here he comes. Not the best of weeks for Martin. We'll move rapidly on. Graham Jarvis is still in the lead as we go through to Wednesday. First it starts the day off, but for most people it's time before they go out to get some mechanical gremlins sorted out. There wasn't any time last night after the horrendous Tuesday. It's Fursit, Loch Treeg, Loch Eel Beag, Garbane, Knockallini, which is where we pick up the action with John Shirt, Papa Glencoe, Mamore, Stobcoirerga, Slubach, and finish the day off at Town Hall Bray. 30 sections, 81 miles, 6 hours 35. Exactly the same time limit that the riders had to do 107 miles yesterday, so you can see just why there were problems. This is Stephen Shaw. George Edveen. Kevin Chapman, who we saw riding the Triumph Twin in the pre-65 class. Stuart Wood. First time this week we've seen the later numbers. Nice view over Loch Leven. Hour and a half earlier you couldn't see the other side of the loch because the weather was just so bad. John Hughes. And Wayne Braybrook. Braybrook would end up in third place after the day. Graham Jarvis would still be in first place, followed by David Kobos. We've moved here across to Garbain, a series of very small, very loose and very slippery rocks. Andy Huddleston. And Steve Saunders. Steve having a superb day, riding right at the back of the field. Was best score on Wednesday, dropping 3 marks only. Brought him back into 6th place overall. Steve Moore, who only rides 1 trial a year, and this is it. Wayne Holsworth, first time up in Scotland, and finding it rather different from his normal sort of events. Wayne, a pretty good rider though. Chris Huddleston. We'll move across to Mamor. Pretty hard sections. Rob Crawford came a nasty tumble. One of the subs here hurt his shoulder. Paul Deakin from the West Midlands. James Noble and Wayne Braybrook taking their time, watching everybody through. This is Noble. Both, of course, Montesa mounted. At least the weather's dried out, bit of sunshine. Warm the riders up as we see Wayne Braybrook. Confirmation as we get to halfway through Scotland. Graham Jarvis in the lead, 5 marks on the day, 10 overall. David Cobos, 4 on the day, 11 overall. And Wayne Braybrook there in 3rd place, 5 on the day, 13 overall. With Rob Crawford, 11 on the day, 26 overall. Thursday, and that means the very long ride out from Fort William to Chairlift. Again, weather conditions not very pleasant as we pick up the action on the bottom sub here at Chairlift. Riders will go on from here to Bar House, 2.5 miles down the track, and then across to Gorton. After that, for spectators, it's a bit tricky to see anything until they get to Furses in the afternoon. 8 sections that are there, but a very long walk, and in these weather conditions it's a bit of an effort unless you're really dead keen. You can see from that shot just how bad the weather is. Jarvis takes it all in his stride. He would remain clean throughout the entire day. Julie Polo, second of the, that's the third of the chairlift subs, 2 continuous at the bottom, and this one at the top, which didn't seem to be causing quite so many problems as it did last year, so perhaps it's been slightly rerouted. Dan Hemingway trying to get warm in the background. So it's 28 miles, so in these conditions not at all pleasant. Rob Crawford in 4th place yesterday, but that was the highest that he would be throughout the week. Rob, who combines trials with riding motocross in Ireland these days. Adam Norris. And then Dan Hemingway. I don't know what Dan escaped with that, but it could easily have been a 5. As Scotland running under completely no-stop rules. Sam Connor would complete the week in 11th place. Tremendous effort from Sam. James Lampkin, Aaron Drachenberg just in the background there. is Adam coming through next. David Kobos, who managed to keep smiling throughout the entire 6 days, but must have been a bit of a culture shock. The weather, if not the sections. Certainly coped with the subs okay. But this was the day that put the big gap between him and our own Graham Jarvis. Jarvo remained clean, while Kobos was on 6, so that gave a 7-mark difference between the two lads with just the 2 days to go following this one. John Shirt, who does a lot of enduros, and Derek White from the White Brothers. Shane going well up till that point. Braybrook and Jimmy Noble. But first they're going to watch Martin Sandford do the hard work for them and show them the line. Made sure there was no hidden holes in that part of the sub. Braybrook's on his bike, holding 3rd place halfway through the week. Today would be his worst day by far, dropping 14 marks, including 1.5 here at chairlift. Okay, through three's bottom 2, but surprisingly the top one catching him out. A section that we see Andy Kearton on a twin shock called Tarko having a crack at. This is Gorton, and it doesn't look too appetising, does it, just at the minute? Steve Saunders had his only dab of the day on one of the subs here at Gorton. Jordi Polo wanted to make sure everything was okay. David Pye. Rain all over the camera lens, but I think that just adds to the atmosphere of the shot. This was how it was on the Thursday. Norris once again. And Connor. Graham Jarvis, who we know didn't lose any marks, so yeah, no great problem. Kobos, who did. Six would go in total today. And we'll go back just very briefly to chairlift. See the very last riders through. Martin Snutch going down for a 5 at that point, but Steve Saunders second only on the day to Graham Jarvis, and only 1 mark lost. So superb effort from Steve, who drags himself up into 4th place overall at this stage. 2 days left. We'll believe you keeping the car park tidy. I think some people will do to get on the film. No, I don't think so. Time not so tight today. Everybody fairly comfortable in comparison. But the weather was certainly none too pleasant. Even time for a bit of petrolling tonight. It's Busman's holiday, obviously. There's Thursday's results. Graham Jarvis in 1st place, 7 mark difference between him and David Kobos in 2nd on 17, Wayne Braybrook then on 27 total. That's our top 3. Friday, 30 more sections, 109 miles, road race day as everybody goes round the peninsula, passing the Prince Charles Memorial on the way to Dooyer Dam. And here we are, 3 subs, start the day off. 16 miles out, another good ride before you get to the hazards. 7 hours today to complete the 109 miles, but it's not going to be a problem. From Dooyer Dam, the riders go on to Piper's Burn, Glen Uig, Goyer Dub, Kamlacroys, Malnameech, Kilmaloo, Gerda, and then back in this year, Roubarou, before the ferry crossing. That was Dave Thorpe. Duncan Wasley just gone through. Good rider on rocks. Pascal Pouali, Frenchman. Isle-of-Man rider, Juan Redshaw. Tops up here at Dooyer Dam. Dan Thorpe just going through. See, it's 2 continuous hazards. Without the nasty top step this year, more in line with the Clubman's event. Roger Williams nicely through. Paul Jepson, hoping the observer is in lenient mood. And looks back to check. Anthony Brockbank. Rode a twin shock the other year, but treated himself this time out. Steve Colley, just not on the pace this season. Certainly can't say that of Graham Jarvis. Tony Kay, this is Piper's Burn. Paul Sagar comes from Oswestry. His son Tom is going pretty well in the B-class schoolboys. van Vos from Belgium. Paul Bennett. Bennett would finish in the Special First Class Awards. This man would finish third best overall. You can see the weather conditions still leaving plenty to be desired. Did improve for the afternoon though. Scotland has a habit of doing that. Gets better just before it's time to go home. Braybrook once again. Still at Pipers. Augusta Sala. Pictured here at Glen Uig. That's Gary Bath. Steve Moore. As you can see, weather conditions much nicer around on the peninsula. Kamina-Croix to follow. Single track road, so it's always a bit interesting when you find cars coming the other direction. Andy McLaughlin having to fight it all the way. Two subs here, and that's more than enough for a lot of people. James Noble, another rider having to fight it. Determined to make sure he gets to that ends card. Just along a little bit further, we see David Klinkard going through Malnameech. Four sections at this particular group. Mick Kroom. And Richard Allen, heading for what he thinks is his best six-day result. Would end up in 36th place. Pretty respectable stuff from Richard from the South Midlands. Rougarou, where if you get up the step you get plenty of encouragement, even from the observer. Getting near the end of the 6 days, so the physical effort's most unwelcome, I should think. Braybrook having problems, but even Graham Jarvis suffered a 5 this hazard, or this group of hazards. After this, it was down to the ferry and the ride back to Fort William. If you didn't get it right, this is what happens. Not so bad if you've got a couple of catches there for you. Time for the odd ice cream. Some advice on how to fettle the Monty from world champion Dougie Lampkin. There we go, current results: 5 from Jarvis, which was at Roubarou for 15, Cobos clean on 17, Wayne Braybrook 3 on the day, 30. That's still our top 3, nothing has changed very much. But Jimmy Noble suffering a nose injury when a bird hit him on the way round the course today. Here we go, final day of the 98 SSDT. Dougie in there geeing up the Beta boys and the Yorkshire lads. For Graham Jarvis. He must be feeling the tension even though he's smiling. Big crew's just outside there waiting for him. Malcolm and Rhoda. Sam Connor, Sonia Rathmell and Killer, all part of the team. Graham can keep it together. He should stave off the efforts of David Cobos. Be a pocket to put that in somewhere.
Ride all day like that.
Cobos made himself plenty of friends in Scotland this year. Pick up the action then. These subs are at Lennecan, good parking facilities, so a lot of people tend to come here. Riders have just got 67.5 miles to go today. Sections though, there are still 30. We've still got Ben Nevis to go. 6.5 hour time allowance, so there shouldn't be too many problems. But Rob Crawford just looking a little bit weary. I'm sure he isn't, but Martin Craven, John Reynolds. Walter Luft, only Aprilia I think that's in the event this year, but it's one that Walter has built himself. It's a bit of a special. Adam Norris, Graham Jarvis there in the left with Malcolm Rathball in the foreground. Adam giving himself a bit of a talking to. Just 2 marks separating Cobos and Jarvis. That apparently is the line through the top sub here at Lenican. Not everybody's going to go with it. William Gillespie going the more traditional route. Richard Spencer doing the same thing. Looks like there's plenty of grip up there. That was the route which is going to be tried now by Carlos Casas. John Lampkin also going that way. What you can't see from this shot is that it looks fairly straightforward, but if you just get that wrong, there's quite a nasty drop on the left and nowhere to put your foot should you start to lean that way, as 1 or 2 riders found out to their cost later on. Graham still keeping it going. As long as he continues to do that, there is nothing this man Cobos can do about it. But he keeps the pressure on by going clean himself. And Shirty still going well. Having a great week as we pick up the last of the action more or less on Ben Nevis. Straightforward hazard this one. Steve Colley. Steve Saunders. Colley again about to go down in an undignified heat. Adam Norris. Dougie giving Sam the benefit of a bit of advice. John Lampkin, who would finish in 10th place, just ahead of Sam. James Lampkin struggling a little. Jarvis, although he might not be looking at, must be feeling incredibly tense. But it's almost all over. This is the only sub that he has to negotiate, but in all honesty that will not cause him any problem whatsoever. But Town Hall Bray did take marks. And then on to the finish. Sign off. Well done to everybody who made it through the week. 201 riders, I believe, finished the event. Sandy Mack, that was coming in. That's Sam Connor, 11th place overall. And just waiting up the top there before he makes his entrance. Graham Jarvis. Archie Pendley, have the champagne ready. Jarvis Senior down there with Sonia Armstrong waiting for Graham to come down. Cliff will be a pretty happy man also, but just watch the grin on Graham's face as he rides along Fort William High Street. Leader from start to finish. Let's come back and win by more next year. Well, we'll be pleased to see him, I'm sure. Thanks to the Edinburgh and District Motorcycle Club for allowing us to film the Scottish Six Day. Thanks also to Hamilton Yamaha for their support of this superb trial. And congratulations to all the riders who finished. Commiserations to those who didn't. We'll see you back in Fort William in 1999. Those are the top three, but fourth place went to John Shirt, fifth Steve Colley, sixth Steve Saunders, seventh Adam Norris, eighth Andy Huddleston, ninth Geordie Pasquet, 10th John Lampkin, 11th place Sam Connor, 12th place Phil Alderson.